In the last episode, we saw how Linley risked his life to save Alice from the clutches of that ferocious Rhino. When Alice requested Linley to walk with her, a long conversation started between the two during their journey through that beautiful valley, which completely erased the distance between their hearts. Linley very safely delivered Alice and her friends to their home, and then returned to his own house to hand over all the hard-earned core crystals to his father, which were worth around 80,000 gold coins. Now this episode begins with a very beautiful and energetic scene. Linley was practicing a friendly fight with his father, Lord Hogg. Actually, Lord Hogg wanted to see with his own eyes what his beloved son had finally learned at the Ernst Academy, and what level his strength had reached. As soon as the fight started, both their swords began striking, cutting through the air. Even though the contest was a friendly match between father and son, Lord Hogg is extremely strict when it comes to training. He never tolerates any slacking. That is why he did not show even a bit of softness in his attacks. Whenever their heavy swords clashed together, sparks would fly from the friction of the iron. Standing outside the field, all the other students were watching this match with wide eyes and were completely shocked because they had never seen Lord Hogg fighting with such intense passion before. Just then, his loyal attendant Hillman, standing nearby, proudly tells the other students, "Do not underestimate him. Lord Hogg is no ordinary warrior. He is a level 6 warrior, and his total power is well over 10,000. Right then in the field, Linley uses his brain and activates the magical power of the earth element, gravity suppression, on his father. In the blink of an eye, an invisible and heavy pressure begins to fall from the sky onto Lord Hogg. Taking advantage of this pressure, Linley moves toward him with lightning speed and attacks directly with his sword. But friends, despite that heavy pressure, Lord Hogg blocks Linley's fast strike with his sword with absolute ease and great maneuverability. Lord Hogg smiles, provoking his son, and asks, "Is this all you have learned at the Ernst Academy?" Hearing this, the level of Linley's excitement shoots up. He takes a high jump into the air, spins from behind his back, and launches another precise attack at his father. But Lord Hogg's agility was amazing. Without even turning around, he perfectly blocks that attack from right behind his back. Now it was time for Lord Hogg's counterattack. He delivered such a powerful, crushing blow to Linley that Linley did try to block it, but the pressure was so terrifying that his sword broke right into 2 pieces. Lord Hogg charges at Linley once again, but Linley was not one to give up easily. He points the sharp edge of his broken sword directly toward his father. In the next instant, both their swords suddenly come to a halt right in front of each other's necks. A dead silence fills the air, and with this tie, this amazing match ends right here. Standing outside the field, all the students jump with joy upon seeing this brave match and clap enthusiastically. Lord Hogg proudly puts his hand on his son's shoulder and praises his capability. Right then, he looks into Linley's eyes and says something that touches his very soul. He says in a heavy voice, "Always remember, my child, you are the sole heir of that great Baruch family whose ancestors never knelt before anyone in history and never accepted defeat. Never let the pride of this blood bow down." In the very next scene, in a quiet corner of the castle, Linley was staring at that same sword of his father's, which had broken Linley's sword into 2 pieces. Just then, his father comes there and says to Linley, "Remember, Linley, I once told you something about our family's history. The true identity and the greatest symbol of our Baruch family is a special battle sword." Hearing this, Linley's eyes light up and he says, "Yes, father, I remember it very well. You said that it is such an amazing and magical sword that it could split a whole mountain in half with one strike and turn the direction of flowing rivers. Is this the same sword that broke my sword today?" Lord Hogg shakes his head with an old sadness in his eyes and says, "No, my child, this is not the real sword. This is just a replica made by the later generations of our Baruch family." Hearing this, Linley is completely shocked, and he asks in surprise, "If this is just a replica, then where is our centuries-old real battle sword, father?" His father said, "When the bad times began for our Baruch family and our history faced a decline, a wasteful ancestor of our own generation sold that holy ancestral sword to a stranger just for some money. Ever since that dark night, no one knows in which corner of the world our family pride is lost." Then he looks at Linley with great pride, and his voice becomes louder. "But my child, seeing the spark in your eyes and the strength in your arms today, I am absolutely certain that you will revive the lost legacy and honor of our Baruch family. You will bring glory to your name and our lineage in the entire Fenlai Empire. And yes, when our magical sword returns, we will also have the secret manual of that ancestral sword. If you bring it back, I will be able to close my eyes with pride even at the time of my death. Otherwise, after death, I will never be able to hold my head high in front of my ancestors in the afterlife. This pain of his father and this deep longing to save his family's reputation goes straight through Lindley's heart. Holding his father's hand with absolute confidence, he says, "Father, have full faith in your son. I promise you that within the next 10 years, I will definitely reach the position where you want to see me. I will restore every bit of our ancestors' lost honor, and our ancestral magical sword will be back in the hands of our Baruch family." Hearing this, tears well up in his father's eyes, and he says emotionally, "I have full faith in you, my child." Following this, Lindley begins preparing to return to his academy. His father wanted him to stay home for a few more days, but Lindley says with absolute seriousness, "Father, my classes have already begun. To reach that milestone, I must make my training much harder and better than before." And he sets off toward his destination. In a secluded room of the castle, Lord Hogg was talking to his most loyal attendant, Hillman. He hands over all the precious crystals that Lindley had earned into Hillman's hands. Seeing so many core crystals together, Hillman is completely astonished. Right then, Lord Hogg says very seriously, "Hillman, I am leaving all these crystals in your safekeeping. They will be useful to you in my absence. From today onward, I am leaving the entire responsibility of both my sons, Lindley and Wharton, trusted entirely to you. Until now, I was bound by the chains of my upbringing and family responsibilities, which is why I couldn't leave this place even if I wanted to. But now, both my children have become mature and responsible. Therefore, I am now leaving this castle to go far away and find out the whereabouts of my wife, Lindley's mother, Lina." An age-old fire burns brightly in his eyes as he says, "If my Lina is still alive today, I know she must be living a life worse than death. And if those merciless monsters have done something to her, then I will take a terrifying revenge for her death from those killers until my very last breath. I am sure, Hillman, that you will never refuse this request of your lord." Hillman's heart was crying from inside. He had absolutely no desire to let his lord walk into the well of death like this. But he knew very well that stopping him would be of no use. Because for years, Lord Hogg had spent every single day and every single night in this very hope, waiting for when he could settle the score for the terrible injustice done to his wife Lina. With a heavy heart he says yes. So friends, here the father has set out to find his wife's killers, and on the other side, our hero Lindley has reached back to his academy. He asks his roommate friend for help in finding that lost ancestral magical sword. After hearing his whole story, his friend says, "Lindley, centuries have passed since your ancestral sword vanished. The path is very blurry, but you give me a little time. My connections and intelligence network are so strong that even if your sword is hidden in any corner of the world or deep in the underworld, we will definitely find its clue." But right then, his friend makes the mood serious and gives a big warning. "But yes, Lindley, always remember one thing. Whoever holds that ancestral sword in today's date will not be some ordinary or random person. He will be some very big wealthy man or an extremely powerful warrior. To bring that sword back to us, we might have to use every single trick, by hook or by crook. Therefore, you have to be completely prepared from both inside and out." While walking on the academy path, Master Delin teases Lindley a bit and says, "Hasn't your training become a bit too strict lately, Lindley? After all, what's the matter?" And just as Lindley's eyes suddenly turn upward toward the gallery, Master Delin smiles softly and says, "Oh, this is that same girl's house, right? What's her name? Alice. Alice had tied and hung a love letter for Lindley on the gallery. Lindley uses his wind power and pulls that letter straight toward himself, seeing which Master Delin starts smiling gently. Alice had written in that letter, "Ever since our school started, we haven't been able to meet each other at all." To drive away the sadness of his beautiful companion, Lindley prepares a beautiful gift box and sends it filled with the petals of those same colorful flowers that they had seen together for the first time during that magical moment on the Beast Mountain. And that was it. For the next several days, this chain of letters and gifts from the gallery continued just like this. Lindley often stays awake at night and thinks, "Whenever I think about Alice, her memories and her voice give my heart such peace, in front of which I forget all the sorrows of the world." Lindley was very happy while reading the letter. Just then his close friend Bibi teases him and says, "Brother, Alice is completely head over heels for you, and I can see that you also like her like crazy. So why don't you go right in front of her and confess your feelings?" Does our hero get scared too? Bebe keeps teasing his brother Linley just like this. One day Lindley was standing below that same window as usual. Just then, inside the house, Alice's father, in a completely drunken state, lands a tight slap on Alice. Crying, Alice comes to the corner of the gallery and starts sobbing. Seeing this, Lindley cannot control himself. He secretly climbs over the wall, reaches her and comforts her. Alice narrates her pain while crying. "Ever since my mother left the house, my father has developed this addiction to alcohol. Whenever he comes home drunk, he starts fighting and arguing just like this." Lindley says, "My mother also separated from me in my childhood. Since that accident, my father's attitude toward me also became very strict. But I know from inside that he loves me very much." In this shared ocean of sorrow, their conversation keeps flowing, and while holding each other's hands and sharing their pain, they fall asleep without even realizing it. When their eyes open, both their faces were very close to each other. Seeing the situation become a bit awkward, Alice shyly turns her eyes away and says, changing the topic, Shall we go for a short walk?" On this, our hero immediately agrees, and both set out to stroll through the city streets in the cold night air. Walking together, Alice looks toward the sky and asks, "Do you like snowfall, Lindley?" When Lindley says yes, Alice says sadly, "I had heard that it was going to snow here today. I wanted to enjoy this beautiful snowfall with you. But look, nothing is going right with me. Father raised his hand on me, and my mother also left us forever because she was fed up with father. It's true, life never goes according to our plans." Seeing Alice so sad is unbearable for our hero. Lindley uses his magical wind element power and twists the gusts of wind in such a way that a beautiful magical snowflake falling from the sky comes to rest right on Alice's palms. When Alice turned back and saw that Lindley had created this beautiful snowfall with his magical powers just for her happiness, an untold joy shines in her eyes. And she asks Lindley, "Will you stay by my side like this, always, for the rest of your life?" To which our hero also replies, "Yes, always." Hearing this, Alice comes running and hugs Lindley tightly, and then the most romantic moment of this series happens between them, which is their first kiss. Friends, their first kiss happened right there on the screen, and here in my mind, the biggest question popped up. Brother, if Alice is here now, then what will happen to our beloved Delia? Anyway, these two were so deeply drowned in the ocean of love that Lindley now started staying lost in the thoughts of Alice every single moment. This condition of his was noticed by his other roommates in the academy as well. On the other side, it was the same story with Alice. She would stand in the gallery for hours just waiting for Lindley to arrive, staying lost only in his memories whether awake or asleep. The meaning was clear, friends. The fire was burning equally on both sides. But brother, only Delia was still spinning in my head. Now even Lindley's friends start troubling and teasing him day and night after seeing his romantic condition. Whenever these two met, they would have a lot of fun, completely oblivious to the world, roaming around the entire city, holding each other's hands to take pictures, and giving lovely gifts. Friends, just when it starts feeling like this whole episode is only going to bear witness to the blossoming love of Lindley and Alice, a terrifying twist suddenly comes in the story. The scene shifts, and we are shown Lindley's father, Lord Hogg. He was mercilessly questioning a wounded killer. "Tell me, where is my wife? Who gave the orders to kill her?" When that killer does not answer out of fear, Lord Hogg, without wasting a single moment, drives his heavy sword straight through his chest. Groaning in pain, that killer finally spills the truth and says, "Behind this entire conspiracy is the hand of no one else but Duke Patterson." When Lord Hogg places the sword on his neck and roars, "What was his motive?" the killer says, trembling, "I don't know deeply, but I once secretly overheard the conversation between the king and the duke. They were saying that they need a pure soul, which they are going to use as a reincarnation vessel. That's it. I don't know anything more than this." As soon as that killer finished his sentence, Lord Hogg's sword swings with a flash of lightning, and he separates that killer's neck from his body. Friends, this story of Lindley's mother, Lina, is truly very deep and complex. What dangerous turn this terrifying secret will give to this story in the future, only time will tell. After this, the scene changes again, and we see the Grand Magnolia Festival taking place in the city. There was brightness all around. where the pair of Alice and Lindley was also strolling while holding each other's hands. Alice smiles looking at Lindley's new clothes and says, "You have come very dressed up today, what's the matter?" On this, our hero says, "Oh, today is our first official date, so how could I come in ordinary clothes like every day?" Just then, the grand procession of the kingdom's king, King Clyde, suddenly begins to pass by. The guards and soldiers walking with them were absolutely amazing, about whom Alice was giving full information to Lindley. And friends, what I feared the most finally happened. Standing back in the crowd, our Delia saw these two lovebirds. Look at that, a total disaster. As soon as Delia saw them holding hands in public, her heart breaks and she turns her face away in anger and leaves. Right then, King Clyde arrives in the middle of the procession, welcomed by all the people there. And friends, walking right behind the king was his brother, Duke Patterson. The meaning was clear, friends. The suspense behind the disappearance of Lindley's mother, Lina, is directly connected to the royal family of this empire. Lindley looks at the procession very carefully and asks Alice, "Tell me one thing, Alice, why is the king's security so low and this Duke Patterson's security so high?" On this, Alice gives him a very important piece of information. Actually, King Clyde himself is an extremely powerful level 9 warrior. No one in the entire Fenley kingdom has the strength to even touch a hair on his head, while this Duke Patterson is a level 7 warrior, which is why so many elite guards have been deployed for his security. Just then, Alice grabs Lindley's hand and starts running, pulling him away from the crowd to the other side. But friends, the screen zooms out and we are shown that Lindley's father, Lord Hogg, has also seen them together. And friends, with this tremendous, suspenseful and amazing scene, our excellent 12th episode of today ends right here. So brothers, what will happen when Lindley finds out that the one behind his mother Lina's kidnap is none other than Duke Patterson himself? Will Lord Hogg be able to clash with the royal family alone? And what step will Delia take now in this love triangle? The honesty and true identity of a real warrior is exactly that, friends. One who does not hesitate to jump even into the well of death to save the self-respect of their family and lineage. Now it remains to be seen how our hero Lindley restores this lost heritage of his. If you also love to watch accurate and genuine explanations of anime just like this, then do not forget to subscribe to your favorite channel right now, because the upcoming episodes are going to be 100 times more explosive than this. Don't forget to like the video at all. See you in the next part. Until then, take care of yourself. Take care.